Good evening, I'm Jose Cardenas. Learn about one group dedicated to rescuing children who are victims of human trafficking. Also, we'll talk about why American Indian stereotypes are tolerated in the sports world and modern society. Plus, an organization helping Valley kids get access to activities and sports programs families may not be able to afford. That's all coming up next on Horizonte.
Funding for Horizonte is made possible by contributions by the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Super Bowl 49 is this Sunday in Glendale. Along with the parties and activities that seem to follow this big sporting event, there's a growing concern about the potential increase in human trafficking in the host city. Child prostitution is a big issue here in the Valley, and there's one group that is dedicated to getting girls off the streets, and they have been working round the clock to rescue them. Here to talk about this issue is Leah Benson, President and CEO of Streetlight USA. Leah, welcome to Horizonte.
Thank you.
And as we indicated in the introduction, this is a big issue all the time, but the focus right now is on Phoenix because of the Super Bowl. Why is that?
Well, because any event brings about trafficking. And so the important thing to remember is that when the Super Bowl is gone, this issue has not gone away.
And give us a sense for how big an issue this is and how serious it is.
The stats say that there's anywhere from 100,000 to 300,000 domestic minor children that are trafficked each year. That is just domestic children.
And we were talking a little bit before we began the interview about, I think you said something like every 48 hours?
Within 48 hours of a child running away, 1 out of every 3 children will have been approached by a trafficker.
And it's the runaways that are kind of the target population for the traffickers, isn't it?
Actually, they don't have any boundaries. We have children that have special needs that have been trafficked. We have children that are schizophrenic, that are bipolar. We have children that come from middle income families. There is no boundaries.
But typically children who are in distress of some sort, that makes them more vulnerable to what they may hear from the traffickers.
Yes, and what teen is not vulnerable?
Good point. Let's talk about your organization and its history. You were founded in 2007?
We were founded in 2007. Our founders were churches, from the faith community, law enforcement, and government coming together because what they found was that they would find these children and there was nowhere specifically to put them. The care for these children is not the same. Our facility is wired with many technologies that allow us to be able to monitor the children on an ongoing basis.
You talk about care, but that's actually an additional service that wasn't offered originally, but was something that came about, what, in 2011, I think?
In 2010, December of 2010, our founders purchased a facility. And through that, they felt that it was very important to provide services to these children, a safe haven, a safety net for them to be able to begin their healing again.
And how many beds are available?
Throughout the country, I've heard stats that there are more dog shelters than there are beds available for children.
Right now here in Phoenix, which is the home of this organization, how many beds do you have available for these kids?
At our facility, currently we have 48 beds available, and we're about to expand to 60. And then we are also building a therapeutic center on site.
And how is it that a young girl comes to be placed in your facility? Is it through initial contact with the justice system, or do you find them out on the streets, or what?
Well, the justice system and law enforcement has definitely been a very close partner in this process, in that they have placed children at Streetlight. And these kids have come from all over the country. We have had placements from Alaska, from Florida, from Colorado, from Texas, South Carolina, New York. These are just some of the states the children have come from to come to Streetlight USA. Our model is very unique, and it's very holistic, and it is the first of its kind throughout the nation.
What kinds of services do you provide to these young women?
Our program is a 3-phase program. We start with stabilization, then we go into growth and choices, and then we move into independence. And so when a child first comes to Streetlight, one of the first things that they have lost is trust in society. And so before they can even begin to receive services, we have to begin that process of building trust and confidence that we are there to really do the right thing for them and to be there for them as they need us to be.
As I understand it, the typical age is 13, but you've had girls much younger?
We have had calls for as young as 8 years old. The typical age is 13. Girls can stay with us up to the age of 22. As long as their 18th birthday, they're in school or working full time.
And who pays for these services that you provide?
Right now we have a contract with the Department of Child Safety, which pays for about 40% of our funding. The difference is truly the community coming out, providing services, service projects, and providing donated items that the girls need.
When we were talking before we went on air, you gave some examples of some of the people that you've helped and some of their life stories. Some pretty harrowing stories about some of these women.
Yes. When you think you've heard the last story, you haven't. And we've served since 2011 over 500 children so far. These children are children at risk of being trafficked or they have been trafficked. An example of a child that is at risk in profile, for example, is we have one that her dad was a pimp and her mom was a prostitute. So she was very highly at risk of going into the life. Wonderful child. She was an honor student in school and was very determined never to get into that life. But in addition to that, she is a teen and she needed help. And so we were there to serve as a safety net, providing her with mentors, with resources that she really needed so that she can stay on that path to success.
And when you intervene with these young women, you're not just providing them services and steering them a different way in life. You gave me a very, very troubling statistic that shows you actually are saving lives.
Yes, we are. We are truly saving lives. These are kids considered throwaways, and when you think about the successes that we've had and the trauma that these children have gone through, a lot of people expect these children to walk out of Streetlight and that they would be okay and that everything would be back to normal. How can you take a child that has been raped 10, 20, 45 times in a day and say that they're going to be normal? A child received that type of trauma and then they were taken away from home, which is another trauma, and then they were beat, which is another trauma, and then they were withheld food and shelter, which is another trauma. So the traumas that these children go through is a lifetime of healing. And so what we provide them is a glimpse of what could be, and we help them develop coping skills so that they can begin to train themselves to understand that the life that they live now is not the life that they were meant to live.
And the life expectancy for a young woman who is trafficked?
The life expectancy, according to the FBI, of a child that has gone into the life of trafficking is 7 years.
Leah Benson, thank you for joining us on Horizonte to talk about this, and good luck on attracting the kind of publicity that you need to make sure people are aware of this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tomorrow, the Heard Museum in Phoenix is hosting a symposium focused on indigenous stereotypes in sports. There'll be a panel discussion to talk about the reason behind the broad acceptance of American Indian stereotypes in sports and in society today. Joining me to talk about this is Dr. Leo Kilsback, Professor of American Indian Studies at ASU. Professor Kilsback, welcome to Horizonte. You're one of the panelists,
Yes.
and the keynote speaker is a former ASU Professor Kevin Gover. What is it that you think you'll get out of, or that you hope to convey at the symposium?
I think folks who attend the symposium will see the connection of stereotypes aimed at American Indians and the connection that these stereotypes have in federal Indian policy and in the shaping and reshaping how Indians are treated in America.
You've got, among the panelists, you've got some people who've been involved in litigation with the professional football team in Washington. A controversy that has touched Arizona, because we had, when they were here playing against the Cardinals, you had a picture of the president of the Navajo Nation in the box with the owner of the Washington professional football team. How did that play, do you think?
I think that's evidence that not all American Indians are, that American Indians are divided on the issue. Some folks who have been fighting against negative stereotypes for a number of years know the issues, and there has been numerous studies out there that have been published that reveal how these stereotypes affect Indian people. And there is another population of American Indians out there who probably did not understand the intricacies. And we shouldn't limit ourselves to American Indians who support the team. There's a vast majority of non-Indian people who support the team, people of color who also support the team name. And I think that's evidence that shows that there's more. This issue needs to be covered more by the media, and that folks should be speaking out about it, speaking out against the negative effects that this has on Indian children especially.
Well, what do you say to those people who say, well, look, there are these American Indians who support this team, and they actually take pride in that team and the use of that name? What do you say to them?
I'd say that there's actually a small population who would be willing to speak out and say that they support the team. There's a larger population of American Indians, as we've seen in the protests in places like Minnesota and here in Phoenix and Glendale when the team came to play the Arizona Cardinals. And to focus on that division doesn't necessarily give credit to the number of professionals, including myself, who have done extensive research and who are professionals in their area of study, who can make those connections of the effects of negative stereotypes that challenge, that have the negative effects in Indian country.
Now, one of the things that's been somewhat controversial is that the team in Washington has a foundation, and they've used that foundation to provide grants to various tribes across the country, including, I think, to tribes in Arizona. Is that good, bad? Do you think it's wrong for tribes to accept those funds?
I think that is a clear example of the efforts that the team has used to divide and conquer Indian communities, and in particular exploiting poor Indian communities who may not have the funding available to build infrastructure within their own nations, and to actually buy support from Indian people. That's a controversy in itself. That I think folks need to look at that as not an authentic, a case of authentic support coming from Indian country, if they actually have to buy support from an Indian community.
So the theme of the symposium is, why is there broad acceptance of these stereotypes as it relates to American Indians, when if it were a different ethnic group, we'd probably all be up in arms and saying, how can you do this? This is wrong. What do you think is the answer to that question?
I think for a number of years, since the colonization of Native America, American Indian people have been perceived as savages and perceived as not human. And this has been widely accepted for a long time. And other ethnic groups, other peoples of color, they sort of abandoned racist language. For example, the equivalent for the R word for the Washington team for an African American group would be very offensive, so offensive that I wouldn't want to say it on air here. But if there was a team that referenced the skin color of an entire group of people, that was a national football team, I think the entire country would be pretty upset about that. And there seems to be an exception for Indian people. And even going deeper into this argument, I've heard people say that we are actually honoring Indian people. They are actually honoring Indian people by using this name. And you never tell another ethnic group what they are thinking. But for some reason, it's okay to tell an Indian person what they're thinking. Why can't you Indian people understand that we're honoring you? I've heard those arguments time and time again. And it's very unacceptable. And we are human beings, and we've been trying to prove that for ages.
I guess the one bright spot here is the fact that there is more attention being paid to this now. So hopefully we'll see some changes in the coming years. And thank you so much for joining us on Horizonte to talk about this issue.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you here. If your kids are involved in sports or after-school activities, it can become very expensive. For some families, the increasing costs can keep children from participating in these activities. One Valley father started an organization that is helping families afford activities. Here now is Jaime Canedo, founder and CEO of Young Athletes Relief Fund. Jaime, welcome to Horizonte.
Thank you for having me.
Why did you start this organization?
Well, as a soccer coach, I coach one of my daughters in soccer. She absolutely loves soccer, and I've been blessed to be a coach in soccer. And it's just been absolutely blessing coaching kids. But I saw that many kids were being left out because of the rising cost in league fees, participation fees, things like that. And it wasn't just in soccer, all the sports, even in schools now, leagues, you name it, even in the arts. It's just the rising cost is keeping kids out. So I thought about it, the idea, threw it around, and people thought it was great. They got behind me. My wife supported me, who's my vice president, and off we went and started the Young Athletes Relief Fund, which this year we're going to change it to the Young Athletes and Artists Relief Fund, because now we're expanding to help kids in the arts as well.
So how many kids do you think you've helped so far?
Last year we helped approximately around 20 kids. And it all varied from some a basketball player. We helped some kids in swimming. We started a swimming program over the summertime, which we thought was a great activity. It's a sport. It can turn into a sport for kids. And you know, being here in Arizona in the Valley, we have a high number of drownings, unfortunately, with kids. So we started a program. We partnered with some private instructors, and thanks to some scholarships, some money, and with the help of the instructors, we were able to provide free swim lessons to the kids, which we're going to continue this program this year at a very, very low rate to help kids, encourage them in swimming and help them to prevent drowning.
So there's no particular sport that you focus on. It's families in need, they come to you, they say, our son or daughter would like to play in a particular sport, but there's a fee that we can't afford?
Correct. You know, whether it's tennis, whether it's volleyball, soccer, you know, they might say, hey, I can put 2 of my kids in, I just can't afford my 3rd. So then we have them fill out a little packet, 1 page, a couple questions, just to make sure that they fit the criteria. Because obviously we'd love to help everybody, but we're a small fish in a big pond still, so we're limited by the funds we have. So we just want to make sure that they fit the criteria, and if they do, we'll give them whatever we can. If we can give them the whole fee, to put them through, or if not, we give them at least half. But you know, half is better than nothing, so it's a big help to someone in need, especially underprivileged kids.
What are the criteria?
Well, it depends. You know, there's kids that live in higher tax brackets of the area, so but they may have their own struggles. So we might find out why is it that you can't afford it, depending on their income. They might have other reasons. Something traumatic has happened in their family, and now they're just left short. Other parts of the valley, you know, the low-income families, they just cannot afford to put their children in sports, or they may, again, have a group of kids, but they just can't put them all so in, and so they leave some of them out. And that's just something that we'd like to help out with.
Is the program limited geographically? Are there certain parts of the valley that you focus on?
No, we're actually trying to expand everywhere, from the north side of the valley all the way to the south side of the valley. We've helped out some kids as far up in North Peoria, all the way down to South Mountain Little League, which we gave them a check last year to help them continue to put their kids in their summer baseball programs. And also we're giving out checks, we're giving out money, trying to raise money to help places like South Mountain Little League that struggle a little bit because of their area, to help them revamp their fields, you know, and revamp their equipment and all that stuff as well. So it's coming along, but we got a lot of work ahead of us.
And we've got some pictures of some of the people you've been able to help.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put them on the screen as
Okay.
we're talking. You mentioned that you've expanded the program. Now we've got a picture of here. Is that you? And
Yeah, that's actually me and my daughter, and that's you know, she's my kids are an inspiration, because again, I'm truly blessed being able to coach, being able to afford to put my kids in sports. But I know, being the single income, as my wife is a stay-at-home mom right now, how hard it is to keep that up, and you know, having to work some extra hours of overtime. But
And you had mentioned that you're kind of expanding the program to artists, and here we have a picture of a young ballerina.
yeah, that's correct. That's Abby Raber. She was one of the last that we just gave a scholarship to at the end of the year. She's also plays the harp, and I don't know if you're aware, but I found out that the harp is very expensive, and she absolutely loves it. She plays beautifully on the harp, but
And so
she
what
comes
were the
from
monies used for? To pay her school fees? Or?
to pay for, actually, to get her some ballet shoes, and or for her harp. She comes from a family of 7 sisters and 1 brother, so you can imagine how that must be on the parents. So she was putting on her own fundraiser, and she's 16 years old, and we thought, you know what, this kid being motivated to put on her own fundraiser, that's how motivated she is to put. We had to help her, so we reached out and gave her a check to help her. So I believe she put it toward a pair of point shoes for ballet. They cost anywhere from $100 to $150 a pair.
So while we were talking, we had some pictures of some of the other kids you've been helping in the sports. We had some soccer players and basketball players. So for them, is it equipment? Is it paying the entry fees for the teams that they're on, or what?
Yes, most of the, actually since we've started, it's been basically the registration fees for the most part that they need help with. We'll help out however we can. We want the kids, we titled our motto, keep their dream alive, keeping the dream alive. And that's what we want kids to do. You know, you had a guest earlier on the show with human kids and being involved in human trafficking. We are trying to reach out and show kids that we want to help them keep their dreams alive, stay in sports or even the arts.
And why the expansion to the arts? Because it would seem that you've got your hands full with the sports.
Well, we know that not every kid wants to be, you know, has big dreams of being an athlete. And perhaps they want to be a big musician or, you know, an artist. So we've partnered with artists as well as, you know, my wife, loving the arts, as well as myself. We've partnered with some people from the Cultural Coalition, Carmen and Zarco Guerrero, who are just fantastic people that are helping us get the word out there to Latino communities, trying to reach them and help out kids in the arts, as well as they're also helping us reach kids in those areas of the communities with sports as well.
And we put your website on helpchildrenplay.com. I take it people can go there. They can make. You're a 501c3.
Correct. We are.
So they can make. You're a nonprofit, and they can make tax-deductible contributions.
Absolutely, and that's everybody is definitely. We've grown tremendously. People want our help, but we need the support. We absolutely could use the donations if you can help us with them, because we're growing faster than we anticipated, which is a good thing, but we definitely are looking for the support of the people
Well,
to help us
hopefully
out.
people watching the show will be able to do that and be motivated to do it. Thank you so much for joining us on the show to talk about
Thank
it.
you very much. Thank you for having me.
That is our show for tonight from all of us here at 8 in Horizonte. Thank you for watching. I'm Jose Cardenas. Have a good evening.
Funding for Horizonte is made possible by contributions by the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station.